As someone who has generally loves reading lately, especially this past year, I only really read fantasy. Like, I read smut fantasy. That's the only thing I generally really am interested in, and it just gets me going. That said, I wanted to talk about my top 3 favorite fantasy books that I have read this year that I really think that you guys should read. An honorary mention will always go out to ACOTAR, A Court of Mist and Fury. This book was by far, I finished it last year in November, but you guys, I have to say, this series is by far one of the best fantasy books you will ever read. There's hype over this book for a reason, and it gets an honorary mention because I literally finished this book in, I think, 3 days. Top number 3 favorite fantasy book that I have read this year has to go to Crescent City. I don't understand the hate that this series gets at all. I loved Bryce. I love Hunt. I love Rune. I love the characters. Specifically, the first one, House of Earth and Blood, was probably my favorite book in the entire series. I just loved the stakes in this one. I love the way it ended. I really loved the relationships that progressed. The plot twists were twisting, you guys. And I got to the part at the end when I found the biggest plot twist. If you guys have read, you know what I'm talking about. I was gagged. Like, I could not put this book down. My second favorite fantasy book that I have read this year definitely goes to Onyx Storm, the Fourth Wing. This is the 3rd book in the series. Needs no introduction. If you guys have read Fourth Wing at all, if you know Zayden Ryerson, you guys know that this book was literally everything, was an entire love letter to Violet from Zayden. And the way this book ended, I think we can all agree, if you guys have read this book, was in disbelief when I turned to the last page. I was like, this has to be a typo. There's no way it ended the way that it did. My number 1 fantasy book that I have read this year, and I feel like a lot of us can agree on, is Kingdom of Ash. You guys, this book was probably the biggest gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, the best fantasy book, I think, and conclusion of a series I have ever read in my life. And I put that over ACOTAR. I just finished Crescent City. This book by far was so good. The conclusion of the plot, the character development that we saw, the relationships that got formed, the relationships that got cured and fixed. It was honestly so good. It was such an epic conclusion to a series that we've been building up for 7 books. And quite literally, I cannot wait to reread this book one day. I was in tears.